Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a skunk. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the front part of the body. To draw the circle, first make two small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make two more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having trouble drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. To the right, draw another circle as a guide for the back portion of the body. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. Draw this circle bigger than the first circle. The edges of the two circles should touch. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video to draw at your own pace. On the left side, draw a smaller circle as a guide for the head. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle as well. This circle should be about half the size of the first circle. This circle should touch the first circle. On the left side of the head, make a small mark for the muzzle. Connect the small mark to the head using sloping lines to finish the guide for the muzzle. Pay attention to the size of the muzzle in relation to the head. The right side of the muzzle should be wider than the left. Draw a sloping line across the entire head. This is a construction guide that will help you place the facial features later on. Inside the head near the top edge, draw a small arc as a guide for the ear. Under the first circle, draw a short angled line as a guide for the front leg. Bend the line near the middle to indicate a joint and then again at the bottom for the foot. Don't make this line too long. To the left, draw a similar line as a guide for the other front leg. Under the circle on the right, draw a longer angled line as a guide for the hind leg. Bend this line a couple of times in the middle to indicate the joints and again at the bottom for the foot. To the left, draw a similar line as a guide for the other hind leg. The top part of this guide will be hidden behind the body. Connect the head to the body using short lines to create the guide for the neck. Make the shape of the neck wide. Connect the body circles using longer lines to finish the guide for the torso. On the top right side of the body, draw a long curved line as a guide for the tail. Draw the line going up and then curve it back down. Pay attention to the length of this line in relation to the body. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch a small circle for the eye. Place the eye on top of the construction guide and close to the left edge of the circle. The eye should be small in relation to the head. When you get the size and position of the eye right, darken the shape. Make the sides of the shape pointy for the corners of the eye. Make the edges of the eye thick and dark. Inside the eye, off to the side, draw a tiny circle for a highlight. In the middle of the eye, draw a small circle and shade it in for the pupil. Shade in the rest of the eye. Use a value that's lighter than the pupil as you shade the eye. Don't overlap the tiny highlight circle as you shade the rest of the eye. Draw a couple of curved lines around the eye for creases. Keep these lines close to the shape of the eye. Near the tip of the muzzle, lightly sketch a small circle for the nose. Pay attention to the size of the nose in relation to the muzzle. When you get the size and position of the nose right, darken the shape. Make the shape more angled as you darken the lines. On the right side, draw a small angled line for the nostril. Make the line thick and dark for the nostril's opening. Use short strokes on top of the nose for a furry texture. The bottom of the nose should be thin. Under the nose, draw a line that curves to the right for the mouth. Extend the line for the mouth to the edge of the head circle. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. Use short strokes as you darken the mouth for a furry texture. Under the mouth, draw another line that curves to the right for the lower jaw. Follow the basic path of the guide as you draw this line. Darken the line on top of the nose for the top part of the muzzle. Use the small arc inside the head as a guide to draw the ear. Darken the arc but make the lines wavy. Add a few curved lines inside the shape to give the ear structure. At the bottom, draw a few short strokes for a furry texture. Use the other lines and shapes as guides to draw the head. Simply darken the outer edges of the guides to draw the shape of the head. Darken the top and bottom of the head using short strokes for a furry texture. Add a few short strokes at the bottom to emphasize the jaw. Use the second line from the right that's under the body as a guide to draw the front leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top part wider than the bottom. Curve the bottom of the shape to the left to create the foot. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Use short strokes as you darken the shape for a furry texture. Make the bottom of the foot flat. On the front of the foot, draw 3 small triangular shapes for the claws. The area where the leg meets the foot should be thin. Use the line on the left as a guide to draw the other front leg. Draw the leg around the guideline. Draw a few triangular shapes on the front of the foot for the claws. A big part of this leg will be hidden behind the first leg and the body, so only draw the visible section. Use the long angled line on the far right side as a guide to draw the hind leg the same way. First, lightly sketch the shape of the hind leg around the guideline. Make the top of the leg wide and the bottom thin. When you get the shape of the hind leg right, darken the lines. Use short strokes for a furry texture. On the front of the foot, draw a few small triangular shapes for the claws. Use the line to the left as a guide to draw the other hind leg. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. Add a few small triangular shapes on the tip of the foot for the claws. Use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Simply darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the body. As you darken the lines, use a series of short strokes to create a furry texture. Make the strokes on the underside of the body slightly longer than the top. Don't overlap the legs that are on this side of the body as you draw the underside. Use the curved line on the top right side as a guide to draw the tail. Lightly sketch the shape of the tail around the guideline. Make the shape of the tail wide. Curve the shape of the tail along the path of the guideline. When you get the shape of the tail right, darken the lines. Use a series of short strokes as you darken the tail for a furry texture. Make the strokes on the tail longer than on the body. Follow the curvature of the tail as you draw the strokes. Change the orientation of the strokes as you follow the path of the guide. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps are sped up so that the video isn't too long. Don't worry about erasing all of the guidelines, it's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Now shade your drawing. Use a dark value across the entire body. Use a lighter value on a few sections of the head to create highlights. Leave a section blank at the top for the white stripe that extends from the head to the tail. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. For light values, push down very lightly on your pencil, then push down harder for darker values. Shade using short strokes. Draw the short strokes going in the direction of the fur. The fur has mainly a horizontal orientation. Make the stripe on the body wide. You can rotate your paper to make it easier to shade. Don't worry about shading too smoothly, a rough value will create more texture on the fur. Change the orientation of the strokes on the tail to follow the curvature of the shape. Add a few light strokes on the white stripe to create a furry texture. Draw a cast shadow at the bottom using a medium value. Shading can be time-consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Keep shading until you're happy with the result, and that's it for the skunk. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com where every step of this tutorial is broken down into an individual image. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.